Hi guys, back with our book. Chapter 10. He just found out or saw that the fella in the park that he hypnotized was paid. Tommy thought it all was a joke. What are you going to do, turn me into a frog? It's not magic, Jax explained patiently. It's hypnotism. It's a totally real thing. It's been running in my father's family forever. Even though Jax believed it 100%, he had to admit it sounded like baloney, especially to Tommy, who was kind of a non-creative and only trusted what he could see in black and white with his own eyes. They shuffled forward in the cafeteria line. Tommy took 2 trays from the rack and handed one to Jax. Just because your dad has a lot of wacko relatives doesn't make you the sorcerer's apprentice. Every family has a few ding-dongs. You wouldn't believe what some of the Searlesses were up to in the old country. There's no way everything that's been happening to me is a coincidence. Jax insisted. All the visions, the weird things people are doing around me. You said it yourself, how lucky I am. I don't think that I'm lucky. I think that I'm bending people without even knowing I'm doing it. Bending? Hypnotizing, Jax supplied. They sometimes call it mind bending. Fine, Tommy all but growled. Show me. Bend my mind. What? Here? Why not? Tommy challenged. You're so powerful, it should be easy. All right, but I'm not that good yet. He turned and peered directly into Tommy's eyes, not sure what to do beyond staring. He was still enough of a novice that if the mesmeric link didn't start on its own, he was lost. Even Dr. Mako conceded there was no mental switch that could be flipped to start hypnotizing, at least none that Santa had ever been able to identify so far. Ooh, Tommy intoned into an eerie voice. I feel my mind bending. My mind is very crooked. What should I do, Master? Eat lunch? Rob a bank? Flush myself down the nearest toilet? Do you want to do this or not? Jax demanded. He stared at his friend with an increasing degree of concentration. There was no vision of himself through Tommy's gaze. At the Institute, Dr. Mako had told him exactly what to look for. It was almost like a picture-in-picture image in a TV. There was no sign of it here. It's not working, he admitted. It might be because you're colorblind. I was colorblind for that Romolo guy, too, Tommy reminded him, and he still got me to go all poultry. Every hypno's eyes find a different entry into the subject's mind, Jax lectured, quoting Dr. Mako. Mine is all about color. Romolo's must work in some different way. Tommy placed a chocolate milk container on his tray. Well, do somebody else then. He indicated a tall, slender brunette 2 spaces ahead of them in line. How about Lisa Sweeney? Can't hurt to have an 8th grade cheerleader in your power. Dr. Mako's lecture replayed itself in Jax's mind, especially in terms like zero tolerance and expelled from the Institute. But this wouldn't be for frivolous or recreational purposes. Jax had to convince his best friend that all this was real. After Mom and Dad, Tommy was the most important person in his life. They always told each other everything. Besides, it was impossible to blow off a dare from Tommy. He'd nag you until you saw it through. Jax focused his attention on the tall girl's pretty profile. It was a little hard at first, since Lisa was looking at the salad bar and not at him. Slowly but surely, he worked her gaze over in his direction. He had her. She glared at him. Go stalk somebody else, dweeb. Tommy laughed in his face. You did it, man. You hypnotized her into insulting you. Jax was bewildered. He was feeling a connection, could even see the pip image of himself from another point of view. But it couldn't be Lisa. All at once, Tommy squeezed his arm. Look! As the cheerleader picked up her tray and moved on, they could both see the lunch lady on the other side of the salad bar, unmoving, her eyes fixed on Jax. If anyone had ever been in a hypnotic trance, it was her. Dude, Tommy hissed. You zonked out the lunch lady? Jax couldn't contain a goofy grin. Okay, she wasn't exactly the subject he was aiming for, but he done it. Not by accident, not in a lab situation, but right out here in the real world. Well, in the cafeteria. Okay, Tommy rubbed his hand together. What are we going to make her do? Nothing. I'm not supposed to use hypnotism for frivolous purposes. This isn't frivolous, Tommy insisted. It's awesome. Make her bark like a dog. Forget it, Tommy. She works here. How would you feel if she got fired because she wasn't doing her job? So make her do something that's part of her job. She never puts enough gravy on the Salisbury steak. She holds onto the stuff like it's her own blood. Make her give me a decent amount. And on the mashed potatoes, too. That's not frivolous. That's customer satisfaction. Jax looked his friend in the eye. Just gravy? And maybe a free chocolate chip cookie. No chance. You get what you paid for and nothing more. This was definitely not what Dr. Mako had in mind, but as long as his command never went beyond serving lunch, it should be okay. Besides, this might be the first time that an innocent bystander had ever been bent by a mesmeric attempt that missed its target. So this counted in real research. When he reached the salad bar, he leaned over the sneeze guard into the lunch lady's face and murmured, "My friend here likes a lot of gravy. Make sure you give him as much as you can. When the next bell rings, you'll remember nothing of this conversation." He got his own lunch, carried it to an empty table. The first bite did not reach his lips when the commotion started at the food line. "Okay, that's enough. I'm good. Stop. Stop." A moment later, Tommy appeared, his tray dripping gravy. The lunch lady was right behind him, a ladle in the hand and the gravy pot in the other. "Opus, help! Hit the switch! Hit the off switch!" "Stop," Jack said urgently. "Stop!" But the woman continued to follow Tommy, spooning ladle after ladle into his swamped tray. Jax realized with some alarm that the mesmeric link between them no longer existed. He had no image through her eyes. All that remained was his command, "Give him as much as you can." He tried to catch her eye and re-hypnotize her, but she was so focused on the need to deposit as much gravy as possible onto Tommy's plate that she wouldn't look in his direction. Jax felt a rising panic. He completely lost control of the situation. All around the cafeteria, kids were interrupting their lunches to watch the great gravy chase. It was only a matter of time before a teacher noticed. Then that poor lunch lady was going to be in big trouble, and all because Jax had broken Santa's #1 rule. The general murmur of surprise was turning into a cheer as the excess gravy poured over the side of the tray. A passing sneaker slid into the puddle, and a sixth grader went down. It got a round of applause from the cafeteria crowd, which grew to a standing ovation as his flying meal sprayed soup over a wide area. At that moment, the parade from the food line reached the slick, and the wipeouts grew more spectacular. Shoes slipped, trays tipped, total chaos reigned. "How about a little help here?" Tommy cried. Jax had to stop this before it escalated in a full-scale riot. Trouble at school was bad enough, but what about Santa? If news of this somehow got back to Dr. Mako, Jax would have a lot of difficulty explaining how this didn't count as frivolous. With that random thought, help came from the unexpected quarter. The bell rang. The lunch lady took her ladle and her pot and quietly returned to her post. It was obvious that she had no recollection of the ruckus that had just took place. Tommy set down his tray with a splash and looked at his entree floating in an ocean of brown. "Okay, I admit it. You're a hypnotist, all right? The worst hypnotist in the world, but you can definitely do it." Jax made a face. "Be quiet and drink your lunch." So, Jax did something he probably knew he shouldn't have done in order to get his friend to believe him. I'm sure we all do things here and there to try to make sure our friends believe us or stay on our sides. It's kind of getting good. Chapter 11 is where we are leaving off. We'll be back for 11 and 12 tomorrow. And then we'll be back on our one-a-days unless something comes up and I have to miss a day for something. But until then, guys, bye. Hope you enjoy it.